Hey, welcome back to my channel Endless Pages. I'm Liv and welcome to today's video, which is a mini book unhaul. Hello, yes, hope you've all been well. Welcome to today's video. As I said, it's a book unhaul. I've been stockpiling these books for a while to remove from my collection and get donated to little free libraries, stuff like that. And I was going to wait until I had quite a lot and do a big unhaul, but honestly, I was out of content ideas, so I was like, well, at least I can film this at least for today's video. So that's why it's quite a mini unhaul. Sorry, but I didn't have any other video ideas, so this is what it is. Anyway, yeah, so here I've got a couple of books that I want to talk to you guys about why I'm removing it from my collection. First books I'm unhauling are the Shadow and Bone series by Leigh Bardugo. So I've been wanting to unhaul these books for so long and I wasn't able to because I wasn't finished with them. I hadn't read them, and I read Shadow and Bone, I can't even remember when, a couple of years ago, and really hated it because I think I had maybe just recently read Six of Crows, and that's one of the best books of all time, right? And then I read this and was like, what the hell is this? This is nothing like Six of Crows. I honestly really struggled with this series. I thought that the pacing was just so slow, and if you're going to give me slow pacing, at least give me great characters. So I don't mind a slow paced fantasy book as long as I'm super invested in the characters and getting emotionally connected to the characters, taking my time with them, getting to know them. Like a recent example of that is Jade City. I found the pacing so slow, but I didn't give a shit because I was so connected and rooting for the characters that I just thoroughly enjoy getting to know the world and the world building and the characters in that book, that I didn't mind that it was a slower paced start. But in this series I wasn't liking getting to know the characters. Like, I found Alina so annoying. Like, how are you supposed to like a book if you find the main character incredibly annoying? Like, I don't know, I feel like I'm in such a minority with this opinion. I feel like maybe this is a shit opinion because like no one else seems to have this opinion, but well, that I've seen at least. But yeah, I really struggled with Shadow and Bone, so it took me so long in between books to continue on, just because I was so reluctant to read them. And normally, right, I DNF, be like, not worth my time, but because I'm such a big fan of the Crishiverse with Shadow and Bone, I plan on reading like her newer books, like the King of Scars series, duology. So I want to have that full knowledge of the world, because King of Scars is obviously based around a couple of the characters from this series. Like Nikolai, one of the only characters that I liked in this book. So I was like, I need to have the full knowledge, and I guess I could have googled it, but I wanted to read this so I could continue on. And yeah, so there was massive gaps in between the books, which probably didn't help as well. So Shadow and Bone Season Storm I hated. I think I rated them like 2 or 3 stars. And then I read Ruin and Rising, I think last year, and this is definitely the best book in the trilogy. I found that, I don't know, I just really enjoyed Alina's character development, and I was finding that I was like finally rooting for her. I just really liked her in this book. I just found that I was actually wanting to pick it up, and I was like, what the hell is going on? So, I mean, it wasn't like a series I completely hated. I hated the first 2 and I quite enjoyed this one. I think I even gave this book 4 stars, which is crazy. But I'm so happy that I am finally finished with these books, and I'm happy that I enjoyed the final one, because it meant that I could finally finish the series and I wasn't ignoring it or not picking it up. So this series is going off my shelf. I will never reread this, ever, and majority of the time I had a miserable time with this series, so this is going to get donated, and hopefully someone who is going to fall in love with this series can take them off my hands and yeah, enjoy them, unlike me. The next book I'm unhauling is Crave by Tracy Wolff. All I can say about this book is yikes, big yikes energy. This is like set in like a boarding school, and there's a bunch of different supernatural creatures at this boarding school, but our main character doesn't know that supernatural creatures exist, and she's human at this boarding school where like everyone is like different groups of supernatural creatures. I can't even remember her name. Grace? Yeah, Grace. Yeah, and and then yeah, she's viciously attacked within arriving, and then she gets caught between like the different supernatural groups. They're all kind of like loyal to their own kind. This was one of the cringiest books I've ever read. The writing was atrocious. Maybe it was too young of a YA for me. Maybe it's a me issue and not a book issue, but I just found the writing so cringy. And the character like had 0 brain cells. Like, she kept getting attacked at this school by supernatural creatures. That's not a spoiler, it's in the blurb. And she was like so oblivious. Like, it was so obvious. Like, these boys were doing these things that no human could do. Like, impossible feats. And she was just like, oh, whoa, that's cool. Like, I wonder how they did that. That's strange. Oh, well, let's ignore that. And just this sign after sign after sign. And they were almost spelling it out to her. Like, hey, you're in a school of supernatural creatures. And she was so oblivious right up until, like, they had to, like, spell it out for her that, hey, like, you're in love with all these boys and they're all different supernatural creatures. I couldn't. It was so cringy. The main character was so dumb, even though they were spelling it out for her. And I didn't like it. There was kind of a love triangle. I'm not a fan of love triangles. This was one of the cringiest things I've ever read. It read like something I would have read on Wattpad when I was 13 years old. Probably too old for this book. Oh my god. Why did I put myself through this torture? I hate read this entire book. I don't normally hate read. It's probably not a good practice to hate read books, but I saw on Goodreads just saying, because I couldn't remember if I'd finished this book or not, but Goodreads says I had. And I gave it 3 stars, which is way too freaking generous. I think that was back then when I was way more generous with my ratings. So I just changed my Goodreads rating to 2 stars because, I mean, that's too generous of a rating. Good riddance to this book. I want this out of my life. I think I only picked it up because I saw vampires and that it was kind of like inspired by Twilight. Yeah, and the blab says this generation's Twilight. It wishes it was this generation's Twilight. You can never, never, never be Twilight. This is a piece of junk. The next 2 books I want to talk about, I think I'll put a disclaimer with this one. These 2 books, I don't know why I picked them up. They're not my genre. They're not anything I would normally typically read. So I don't know why I did. I think I got caught up because they were popular books at the time. I don't know why I picked these up. But anything I say about these books, take with a grain of salt, because I am talking about books that are not my genre and a genre that I don't enjoy to read. So, you know, my negative thoughts about these books are because I don't enjoy this genre. So the first one, Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. I did start reading this. I think I got like 100-ish, 200-ish pages into this book and found it so incredibly cringy, and I kept physically like cringing and reacting to this book. But I watched the movie and I really enjoyed the movie. So I don't know what happened there that I disliked the book so much and DNF'd it but loved the movie. I don't know. I really liked the movie. I thought it was good. But, you know, I'm not a book fan, so it was just good in my opinion. The Love Hypothesis as well by Ali Hazelwood was so cringy to me because it is not my genre. I don't know why I bought these books. What a waste of money. It's not my genre. I got caught up in the hype for books that aren't even my genre that I read. I think I got like, I don't even know if I got 100 pages into this book. I really struggled with it. Again, I found it really, really cringy and just not my kind of romance if I was to read romance. So these 2 are going. The next book I'm unhauling is The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Yeah, this is a really popular book that I just couldn't stand. Again, maybe it was an issue of it's too young YA for me and I'm too old for it. This is kind of like I thought it would be fun, fast-paced, like puzzle mystery kind of book. It's about this girl and this billionaire like writes her into his will, and she's like never met this man before, and she's like, you get all my money, but the only catch is you have to come live in my house with like my 3 grandsons. And they discover that the grandfather was really big into puzzles and mysteries and stuff, and he leaves her this kind of, her and his grandsons, this final kind of puzzle. And I thought it'd be fun, fast paced with maybe a little bit of romance, but it was incredibly cringy. I feel like I'm saying about all the books in this Unhaul, but it was really, 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 really cringy. I hated all three of the brothers. I thought that they were all incredibly annoying, egotistical male characters. I was just like, I haven't got time for this. Why would I want to be reading this? And yeah, it was very annoying, and it was like, the main character wasn't a pick-me girl, but it was like, I hate when characters are written like that they're perfectly intelligent and they're like so much smarter than everyone else. Like, they're so smart. It just, I don't know, it just annoys me. Yeah, and it's one of those silly things where it's like, she's right about everything, she finds all the clues, she's so smart. It just, see, that's not fun to me. Like, that's not fun to read. And I feel like maybe it was going to turn into like a love, not even a love triangle, like a love square, because they're three brothers, and again, I hate that. I hate it. The will they, won't they, I can't deal with that. It's so cringy to me. I didn't get very far into this book, probably only like, I don't think I even got to 100 pages before I tapped out. It makes me nervous though, because I recently bought, I don't know where it is, her older series, the Natural series, because that got described to me as like Criminal Minds-y puzzle kind of book, and you know, you say Criminal Minds and I'm in. So that makes me kind of nervous to read that book, because I was really looking forward to reading that one. I thought that was going to be very up my alley. That book has also gone pretty viral at the moment and everyone's talking about it, so I'm nervous. If I don't like this one, am I going to hate that series? But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I don't get the hype around these books. Maybe I didn't read enough, but cringy. I can't read this anymore, so goodbye. The next book I'm unhauling is One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. This is a young adult mystery series. The first book is kind of inspired by like Gossip Girl-ish. There is this guy called Simon, and he runs this kind of Gossip Girl like page at his school and he pretty much like reveals everyone's secrets on this page. And then him and a bunch of other characters get placed in detention, and actually, is that a spoiler? Yeah, and then he dies in detention, and it is up to our cast of American stereotype high school characters to figure out what the hell is going on here. So yeah, you've got like, there's literally like a geek, a jock, a criminal, and a princess. I don't know, I have such mixed feelings about this series. I read this first book, and then the second book, which is, oh, I forgot the title. One of Us is Back, or is that the third book? I don't know. I read the first book and the second book. I listened to them both on audio. I just couldn't physically read these. And I found both reveals in the first and the second book incredibly unsatisfying. Like really unsatisfying. It just... And I feel like, as well, it wasn't just the unsatisfying ending, it was the fact that it's meant to be like, okay, let's figure out what's going on here, like who's messing with us, like why did Simon die, who killed Simon, blah blah blah. But you don't actually see them doing that much investigating. You see a little bit, but you don't see that much, so you don't get to see the satisfying process of them getting tricked and people lying to them and them revealing clue after clue. It just doesn't feel like the reveal has been worked for in any way. And then the reveals are just kind of unsatisfying anyway. So I'm gonna finish this trilogy, and I know that sounds crazy because I've just been like shit talking it, but there's something that keeps pulling me back to the books. I don't know what it is. I think it's potentially I like the characters and I like the characters' development. Not so much the characters from the second book, like I feel like I didn't connect with them as much, but the original crew from the first book, I like their character development. And even though, like I just said, like American stereotypical high school characters, they do break that stereotype. And yeah, I just feel like I was really emotionally connected and rooting for these a lot of characters and happy to see their growth. And I think that's what keeps pulling me back rather than the actual mystery side of it. I like those characters. But yeah, like I said, the books in the characters in the second book I didn't connect with as much. And then I started listening to the audiobook. I was like, let's just finish this trilogy for the final book, and I can't really remember what happened to the second book because I didn't really care about them as much. So I'm hoping it's going to be like we get to see more of these characters again, because they're all kind of friends now. Like there's two groups that are combined through, I don't know, the trauma and the connected mystery. So yeah, I will finish this trilogy. I've rated, I think, this one and the second one 3 stars, both 3 stars, just purely because of the characters. I liked the characters. So it's not a hated series. It's definitely not a least favourite. Like, I really like the characters, but I'm never going to reread this, and I will finish the series on audio anyway. So this is going to be Unhauled. The second final lot of books I'm unhauling is, oh my god, this is so heavy, the Vampire Academy series by Rochelle Mead. I'm going to put these down and just grab the first one because these are so heavy. Yes, the Vampire Academy series. I read this in high school. I was probably, I don't know, 13, 14 when I read this series, and really loved them back then because I was 13, 14 and I loved vampires. I mean, I still do, but I was big into my vampire phase, and really loved this series and loved the male love interest, loved the whole world, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, a couple of years ago, I was like, I cannot remember a single thing that happens in that series. Like, I cannot remember what happens. I can't remember the ending. Like, so many details I've forgotten about this series. Maybe I should do a reread and see like how it holds up now. I'm, 25, or I don't know, probably 23 at the time, 24. And I read the first book and really didn't like it. I think maybe this is a fallen victim to, I had very, very different tastes when I was 13 years old, and now that I'm older, I don't know, I'm not liking it as much. And I mean, it's different from like, say, if when I reread City of Bones or, a series like that where I have more of an emotional connection to it, even though I know now it's not a great series. And the author, anyway, we won't speak about that today, but yeah, whereas this, it wasn't like a favorite, so I don't think I have the strong of a connection to still be like, I love these books anyway. And I bought these all like second hand, because I was like, this is expensive. I don't want to buy the whole series brand new just to do a quick reread. But yeah, I reread the first one and honestly don't think I will ever continue on with these. These, I don't know if I can put it in a little free library because they were in pretty bad condition when I bought them second hand. So I don't know what I'm going to do with these, but yeah, I don't think I will ever reread this series, to be honest. I think Emily from Books by Emily is currently reading the series and I think she's almost done. So when she finishes, I'm just going to ask her to tell me what happens in the end because, yeah, I'm not going to reread all these. Or I could just Google it, I guess. I could Google what happens in this series. Anyway, yeah, these are going. The final book I'm unhauling is Burn Down, Rise Up by Vincent Torrado. This one is such a disappointing unhaul because I was very hyped to read this book. I thought I was going to love it. This is kind of a horror thriller kind of book. We follow, I think her name was Raquel. Yeah, 16-year-old Raquel who lives in the Bronx, and her crush Charlize's cousin goes missing. And there's been a lot of disappearances recently and they start to investigate, and they discover there's this kind of urban myth and this game that all these teenagers are playing where they go on to, yeah, you have to go and flip a coin before 3 AM and decide between 2 directions, and then you like chant these words 3 times, and then if you end the journey before 4 AM you get trapped in the game. I thought that was really cool sounding and I thought this was going to be really fun and fast paced. It wasn't. I found this book really boring and it dragged on, and I feel like there was a lot of just filler and not interesting plot lines, even though they had this super cool plot and world to work with. And although I will say it did kind of do a good job in informing me of the history of the Bronx and making me want to learn more about the history of the Bronx, specifically kind of like the racial elements in the Bronx, so that did make me want to learn more, which, is a good bonus. And that's what young adult books are meant to do, educate you on social issues. So that was a good side to it. I just feel like this was a lot of filler and a very, very, very boring book. And then you get to the kind of last big tension while they're in the game and they're playing the game, and I just felt like it just kind of ended. Like there wasn't a big battle, they didn't really have to do much to defeat the bad guy. I just feel like the end really fizzled out and they didn't have to work for it. Normally you think in a book like this they have the final crazy chase scene or fight scene where they're fighting for their life. I just didn't feel that tension, and then they just kind of like, okay cool, we're out of the game, that's it, book's over, done. So that was a really big letdown for me because I was so hyped to read this book and I was like, this is gonna be sick. And like, look how cool this cover is. Like I don't want to unhaul it because of just like, it's a really cool cover, but taking up precious space on bookshelves, and I'm definitely not going to reread this. And yeah, it's not like I need it in videos to recommend it or anything, so it's really, really sad because it was like hyped as this really thrilling, fun book, and it just wasn't thrilling for me, and I'm very sad that I'm unhauling this book because I wanted to love it so bad, but I didn't. Those are all the books I'm going to be unhauling. I say unhauling, but there's still a tub. Still, I think I said this in my last unhaul, there is still a tub of books sitting behind the camera, so they're going to join that pile of shame over there until I one day actually get off my ass and unhaul them properly. So let me know in the comments what you thought about the books that I'm unhauling. Have you read any of them? Are any of them your faves? Do you think I had good reasoning for unhauling the books? Thank you again so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Give this video a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you would like to see more of my content. And I will see you in whatever the hell I post next. Bye!